Hi, my name is Les Beasley. I'm the master distiller here at Whiskey Hollow Distilleries. Our legal entity is JBM Specialties, LLC. This is a relative short little documentary on a production run I just finished. This production run is primarily for individuals or companies seeking to expand their distilling capabilities and also to prove in real life, real production environments what our stills has the capabilities of doing. This production run, I will be breaking it up on hourly pulls, what I call hourly pulls, through approximately a 10-hour distillation run, and show you the production of the still as it is actually going through the distillation process every single hour. What you will see in this production run is at the end of it, by the time we calculated and gauged the entire production run, was a total amount of 1,038.306 gallons of 175 proof, 100% corn whiskey for our flavored moonshines. But before I get into it very deep, I want to, so the lawyers don't have a hissy fit, I want to state a disclosure here. This is for informational purpose only, just to give you an idea on what we can do. Any numbers that I state is subject to correction. Any assumptions that I do are strictly that. It is based on my opinions on where this distillery can go and what it can do. The distillery run or the distillation run that we done is each one will come out differently. Every run is different based on many different variables that I won't go into. So this is for informational purposes only, and it is as accurate as I possibly can do. The great thing about this video, well, one of the great things is hopefully it'll come across on how simple it is to run this massive still and get the quality of spirits that is coming out of it, as well as a tremendous amount of production, in my opinion. This, I found out my still here that you're seeing back here, I basically designed every nut and bolt in this distillery, the building, the still, and the local craftsmen and carpenters and engineers, as well as architects, helped me put this together over the last few years. Long story short, COVID did a number on us, killed our operating budget and growth budget, and pushing 68. It also did a number on me. So we, the board and my family, we all decided it's better to hand this off to new owners, and I'm happy and more pleased to help the new owners any way I possibly can to take this distillery and our equipment to the level that I know it can go to. So we did file Chapter 11 a few months ago, and right now we have received a very fair offer, so this distillery will sell. The court underneath Chapter 11 reorganization wants us to stay in a 120-day offer period, where I believe we're somewhere in the neighborhood. I think that period will end somewhere in around the end of or the beginning of November. Not exact, you can check with the court or attorneys on when it does. But also, the prospective new owners, they have requested an expedited close, and we've got that presented to the court. So if you're considering expanding a distillery, don't sit on your haunches and wait for it to, for this to come forward. You're going to have to act, and you're going to have to act quick. And if an offer is substantial, naturally, we'll slow the boat down and consider all feasible options. So, with that said, what you've seen here at the very first was a 38-foot tall column still on the, as you're looking at the video, on the left-hand side, and approximately a 27-foot, 2,200-gallon pot still. These are my designs. I built my first legal still in '81, and over the years I figured out how to distill the spirits as I want to. This is a high production. It also has the capabilities of semi-continuous operation. It is low pressure steam. I call low pressure steam. It operates on around 40 pounds PSI. We have a 2 million BTU burner in here that supplies all the energy it needs, and it works extremely well. So this distillation run is, from start to finish, is done by me. Nobody else is in here or was in here, so from filling the still up to getting it all ready to run, prepping it, and running it was one man. One man can do this, or one qualified woman. It doesn't matter. It's that simple. So before I start rattling on too much, I really appreciate you taking the time to look at this. If you have any questions or how the deal works in the turnkey period, we're offering this as a turnkey option. You get everything here in the distillery, as well as my help to get this thing up and running. So we have brokers that's assigned to answer any of your questions, as well as attorneys. So with that said, I appreciate you taking the time to look at this, but also, after somewhat 42 years since I built my first legal still, this, I believe, is my swan song. This appears to be my last production run I will ever do as owner of Whiskey Hollow Distilleries. So it's bittersweet, but it's a life well lived, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. At the end of this run, I filled up 12 Moonshine jars, just a little bit of commemorative so I can remember my last run. So with that said, let's get into it. What you're seeing right here is on my column still over here. At each one of our sections, I have a temperature monitoring system, so it tells me the temperature at each one of these distillation points in the 24 section column. I also have a means to control the temperature at each one of these, which I will not go in as part of our little secrets. The new owners will get those secrets on how to do it. Very easy to do. But the great thing about this is if I know what that temperature is versus this temperature here, I can control this whole column on how efficient it is and what proof comes out at the top. So if it goes in at 191 degrees, that's isotropic effect down here, and you got the water mixed with your alcohol and steam, and you want to get it to 190 proof up here, that's got to go from 191 degrees to around 73.5 to 73.6 to get the 190. So the closer you get it to that 173 as it goes up, you're pretty well assured what you're going to get at the top, because all you're dealing with is boiling points. But anyway, the clock is set at 0. Let's just see what our production run's going to be, and I'm going to start it right now. We're on the clock. 12:28. I wanted to show you before we move move over to the parrot. We've got steam coming up into the column right now. It's showing into the green zone, gives me a visual. Every one of these can be, the way I understand it, sent remotely to your iPhone or whatever mobile device that you have. So if you're the CEO manager or whoever, you can actually monitor what your still is doing remotely while your master distiller or head distiller is on site, so you can see exactly how the production run is going. There's a couple, we've got sensors at each one of the locations, so as it moves into the green zone, letting me know that steam is going up the column, that the distillation is doing good. And once it gets stabilized out, it'll tell me what the bottom boiling point is, so I can monitor this still and adjust the temperature in it through my means over here. So I want the highest proof alcohol coming out here for vodka that I could possibly get above 190. If I want it for whiskey or bourbons that cannot get above 160 proof to maintain the flavor of the grains, then I want this temperature somewhere, I won't say it, you know, probably a good 10 degrees hotter. That tells me the boiling point is up there where it needs to be, and then I'm coming out with around 150 to 155 proof. So very easily monitored. I'm getting ready to move the camera over to the Parrot so you can see the first runs. I will be pulling the heads off before I go back into production. Pretty cool. These high temperatures over here, I don't have the temperature sensors into the reference of our pot still. It's sort of a rough design in what it is. We can smooth it on out if we wanted to. It's got the crown on it, but we got a temperature probe system up here in the column, and as well as the pot. Right now it was 18 minutes from that last video. Here it is, 111 right now. We just finished pulling the heads off. If you listen to the tank behind me, you can hear the run going into it. This is our collection tank right here. So I'll be making a pull over here just in a little bit to check the proof and the run, but we are in the run right now at 111. Date is still August 2nd. Doing good. Right now, I've got the Parrot barely running while you're still hearing us collecting the spirit. An old trick is just to take a little bit of the spirit, rub it in your hands, and smell it to see how clean it is. It's coming out really nice and clean. I'm going to zoom in on the alcometer. It's not adjusted to room temperature, so you can take about 6 points off or so of this alcometer, and it'll be really close to TTB proof at 60 degrees. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can actually see it. Okay, this is just a Parrot alcometer. It goes from 0 proof all the way up to 200 proof. So right now at the Parrot, there is 200 proof, there's 190. Right now it's running about 196 on the proof. So we're real close to vodka proof on our spirit run. Like I said, I'm not adjusting it to make it run with bourbon. I'm adjusting it to run for moonshine. So I'm very happy with it. It's nice and clean. About 2 hours ago, no, hour and a half ago, we started the clock over there on the column still. Right now it is 1:58, so at right about 2 o'clock. So I'm going to put it on the schedule to make a pull about every hour, check out what the production run is. So let's see what we got. What I'm going to do is, this is a gallon jug. That's the 1 gallon mark. I'm going to turn the Parrot, divert the spirits to the Parrot in full run. So we can time it, how much time it takes to make 1 gallon. Then we'll figure out our production per hour based on that. I'm setting the stopwatch to 00. As soon as it hits here, I'm going to start the watch. We're definitely close to around 100 gallons an hour. We'll see though. It appears that we're producing above 170 proof. Right now at 24 seconds. I'm guessing almost 100 gallons an hour. It's coming up at 1 gallon. I've got 2 collection tanks. This valve is just easier for me to hit versus diverting it over to that tank. So where we did 42 seconds. So the production is coming up. I anticipate it to get around 32 seconds. I slowed it down a little bit. I didn't want 190 proof coming out. For Moonshine, I still like to have just a little bit of character left in it for our flavored moonshines on the corn side. Let's see where the proof is. The stripping run in the still that we're distilling right now was, I'm guessing, in the neighborhood of around 120 proof. Okay. Let's see what the still stripped it down to. This is a Snap 51 from Anton Parr. It's a distiller's friend. Okay. Right now, I was guessing right. Oh, gracious. Can you see it? I can't see it. Yeah, it's coming across right there. It's 173.35 proof. Perfect for my flavored moonshines. So, the reason I say it's perfect, when you use natural juices, you don't have to add water to it to bring it down to the proof. So you can absolutely instill more fruit and more flavor into your flavored moonshines, and they just taste a whole lot better. So this is a very clean spirit, running at 42.5 seconds. So you guys get your pencils out. I'm not going to go over this formula but one time just to save time on the video. Okay, say 42 seconds to get a gallon. Make sure I'm doing it right, yeah. So what I do is take 42, excuse me, let's back up here. Let me get my calculator out. We got 60 seconds in a minute naturally, divided by 42 seconds to get a gallon. So we're at 1.43 gallons per minute coming out of that still at 173 proof. Times 60 minutes in an hour, that's 85.71, or just call it 86 gallons an hour. So we're coming up, I want to get up around 112 gallons an hour to do it. But for the first pull, basically about 1 hour after the steam started going up the column, We got 85 gallons an hour, production at 173 proof. So you take 40 proof at that rate right there. What did we do in this last hour? 85, let me see, 176 proof divided by 40 proof is a 4.4 multiplier times 85 gallons. We're at 374 gallons of 40 proof times 5 bottles to a gallon. That's 1,870 bottles of 40 proof pickle juice moonshine times $20 if we sold it right here, or 25, just say $20. That last hour, $37,400 of pickle juice moonshine if we sold it right here. That's a pretty good ROI. See you next pull. Yeah, we're well over 100 gallons an hour right now. This thing is cranking. "20 seconds. 26. Stop. "30 seconds. I'm guessing that's well over 112 gallons an hour, and that's exactly where we want. I'm guessing, let's just find out. 30 seconds. So that is 2 gallons a minute. That's pretty easy to figure. That's 120 gallons an hour. Let's see what the proof is. I've tried to bring down the proof just by adjusting the steam over there. I hadn't messed with any of the valves. I've got a little bit of reflux going on over there. So I want to show you, we started out cold, somewhere around 190 proof. I wanted to bring it down to around in the 170s for really good clean moonshine. Right now, hopefully it's going to be a lower proof than that. And if not, the next run will be, I want to get it down below 160 in the run, just to show you that it can produce bourbon quality spirits. Let's see what it is. Sure surprises me. At 120 gallons an hour, we're still running 178 proof. So I'm going to have to increase the reflux a little bit to get it down to 160. 120 gallons an hour at 178 proof. Do the math. You'll be very happy. Okay, here we go. 4:03. Next hour pull. Get the timer set. This run is running very sweet. I'm putting just a little bit of temperature control on the still, increasing hopefully the production a little bit, but more than likely it's going to increase the proof of the spirit coming out, making it cleaner. I'm not going to mess with this really nice, clean Moonshine run just to prove a point that I can take it down to 160 proof anytime I want to. That is very simple to do. The owners of this uh, distillery, whoever purchases that, I'll go through all that. It's really simple to do. But right now, I'm interested in how clean this moonshine is running. Let's see what we got. Reset it, 0, 0. Got it transferring over this tank. A little bit slow on the deal, is right at 27 seconds. This thing is cranking. I've never had it overflow the parrot. So that little adjustment I've done, that's unreal. But now it's 4:06. I forgot to show you the proof and see what it was. It is. Back up a little bit. 181. Okay, let's see where we are on this run. I slowed the still down. That last run, if you did the numbers on it, was kicking out at 133 gallons an hour. It was overrunning my parrot. It absolutely doesn't need to run that fast, but it goes to show you that the still is capable of doing it, and that was producing 181 proof, very clean moonshine. So it Cadillacs typically around 112 gallons an hour. Anything above that is just a bonus, but it's not needed to go that high. Let's see where we are right now. I cut it back some. It still may be up there. Let's see what it's doing. Zero, 0. Let me just do this again. Right now, it's 5:08, August 2nd. 0, 0. Put this off. Put this on up here. Yeah, that looks more like it. That looks more like it. That's where I like to see her run. Proof's dropped a little bit, which is just fine. It'll typically drop as the run goes on. Coming on up. .36. That's 112 gallons an hour all day long. You can do the numbers on it, but we'll see you on the next run. Well, let's just see what the proof is. 166, 167 proof. Just about where I figured it'd be at. That's excellent, excellent moonshine. 6 o'clock pull, let's see what we got. I've got a cooling technique that the column still has. Sometimes when I add that cooling technique, it will increase the production some, but it also will increase the proof. In other words, refine the spirit a little more. Let's see what we got. Just playing with it, it's doing fine as it was. I could have just let it Cadillac and not touch a single thing, but what fun is that? Okay. Stopwatch 00. That's just transferring the mainline spirits to this tank. I can't reach over there to turn that valve off to adjust the parrot. Still at 00. What this does, this purges the system. Shut this valve off. Close the parrot off. Let's see what we got. Oh, that's about the same, I think. Maybe a little bit more. Stop. "35 seconds, so it's still well over 100 gallons an hour, probably in the neighborhood around 110. So she's Cadillacing right now. Let's see what the proof is. "172.5. So the little technique that I added to cool the column off, just at a couple plates, increased the proof, cleaned the spirit up, dropped the volume down maybe a gallon an hour, but when you increase the proof, so it's about the same type of production as far as proof gallons goes. So that's called a win-win. You cleaned up your spirit better, increase the proof, and everything's good. See you on the next pull. 702. Let's see how this pull's doing. This time around, I didn't mess with it at all. I believe it's just Cadillacing, and that's the way it should be. I just on the previous pulls, I was playing with it just a little bit to show you some of the capabilities on if you want to fine tune it or increase more or less. But this one, let's just see where she is. Zero, zero. Cadillacing right at 30 seconds. I probably punched it about a second or two early, so it's right at 32 seconds. I'm guessing, and you do the numbers, it'll calculate out right at 112 gallons an hour. Let's see what the proof is. $176.39. Somewhere in that neighborhood. Call it 176. Excellent run so far. Perfect proof for clean, flavored moonshines. The high proof out there will allow me to put a lot of natural juices in it and increase the flavor of the moonshine while cleaning it up, but not yet taking it to grain neutral spirits where you just lose that. This is a bourbon mash. It's 100% corn bourbon mash spirit run that we're doing. So it is 100% corn whiskey that we're making into this moonshine. See you next pull. 801, next pull. We're right in the middle of Heart's Cut. Everything is running fine, absolutely no drama. She's just sitting here Cadillacing, just thinking that more than likely this is my last run as owner of this distillery. It's been a long time coming since I made my first so-called legal moonshine in '81. So on this next pull, I'm gonna fill up 12 ball jars with moonshine. But right now, let's just see where we're at and call it good. Stopwatch set at 00. Divert the main flow to this collection tank. Purge the system. Punch it about a second early. Let's see how she goes. Still looking good. Still doing really good. Stopwatch didn't punch, but I looked at it. It was right at 32 seconds. I let it go to 42. I thought I punched it, but it's right at 32 seconds. So let's see what the proof is. running right at 176 proof, Cadillacing right along at 112 gallons an hour. So this is just perfect. So I did a little calculation just a little bit ago, and right now a proof gallon with the federal government is classified whatever the gallons would make at 100 proof. So one proof gallon is 100 proof of ethanol broke down. And right now what we have collected, and I believe we're in our sixth hour pulls, we're over 1,000 proof gallons right now. So see you next pull. Everything's doing fine. Time 10:12. This will be the last pull. We just topped over 800 gallons of around 177 proof in about an 8-hour run. So in other words, from the start of distillate coming out, we pulled 8 runs. I missed the last run to show you. I was transferring, the tanks got filled up. I had to transfer them out to a bigger tank and went past the hour. So we're at 10:12 right now. And this is just about the end of the swan song for me. The fat lady is sung. I'm getting ready to turn off the boiler and letting it tail out. I got 12 moonshine jars over there, ball jars. I'm gonna finish up. We're in Heart's Cut, the last part of Heart's Cut. Extremely good run. It turned out a lot sweeter and a lot higher proof than I was anticipating. I was thinking I was going to get into the high 160s, but now we're in the 170. So it was a very, very good run. Bourbon mash run, 100% corn whiskey. So the 800 or so gallons we have over here, I'll break that down into proof gallons. The proof gallons well and exceeded over 1,000 gallons today. I'm anticipating in the neighborhood, well, I'll run the calculations and put it in the front of the video tomorrow. Don't need to do it right now. But this pull is an average of today's run. This came from the collection, the main collection tank that I've pumped these into, that the runs have went into. Let's see what the proof is on it, the average proof. So we started out, if you remember, at the 190s, went down into the 160s, and right now, at the end, at the average of it, we are at 174 proof. So that's going to make and it's very, very sweet. So that's going to make some excellent flavored moonshine as well as some straight moonshine. So let's see what the pool's doing right now. Purge the system. Hold on, get my little clock out here to time it. See if I don't screw it up this time like I did last time. Make sure I punch a button. Stopwatch is at 00. Let's see what the last pull of Heart's Cut's going to do. There we go. She is doing fine. Sweet. .9 seconds. Just call it 31 seconds. That's above 112 gallons an hour. Since this is the last pull of my so-called swan song, this is the last run that I probably will ever do as the owner of Whiskey Hollow, running through the distillery that I built here. From this point on, it will probably be me helping the new owners build on their dream. It's been an absolute life experience, to better put in more than one way, on building this. I did get my bucket list item that I wanted to build a world-class bourbon, but that's another story. When I turn the boiler off, I'm gonna fill up the last 12 jars of moonshine for my grandkids and me as the last run. So let's see what this figured out to be. 31 seconds. You can run these calculations. 60 seconds in a minute divided by 31 seconds equals 1.94 gallons per minute. You take 1.94 times 60 minutes in an hour. That's 116.4 gallons an hour on the last pull of Heart's Cut for this run. It's down to somewhere in the neighborhood. I made a pull out of a still a couple pulls ago, and it was down to around 70 some proof in there. I know I'm getting in close to tails on this run right here, and I don't want it. I cut a lot of alcohol out because I do not like tails in my alcohol. I want deep Heart's Cut whiskey. So you got to be willing to throw away some of the bad in order to really enjoy the good. So I'll make a pull tomorrow after it's cooled down and see exactly what the proof is in there, and go on that recording. But we're well over 800 gallons now on this pull. So I'm gonna go turn the boiler off. Probably go ahead and turn the camera back on just so I could document the last 12 moonshine bottles that I fill up in my own distillery. So I appreciate it, and I'll get you the numbers. Guess I didn't pull the proof on this one, so I'll turn the camera back on. Let's see what the last pull was averaging. It come up good. You can hear that little popping in the background. That's a temperature control system that I have on the column still. I cooled the top part down. Didn't hurt the production, but cleaned up the spirits. And that's part of the secret, so that I'll be more than happy to divulge to the new owners. Not hard. 181 proof on the last pull of the last run. Not too bad. That's going to make some good white lightning. I'm not going to dilute it when I put it in those jars. I still got to pay taxes on them if I'm going to call them my own. So even though you make it, you still got to pay taxes on it. This is an old tradition This is what you usually get moonshine in if you're in the hills. Ball mason jar. So I think it's fitting that when I started out with these, I should finish with these. So this is, I believe, my last, and I've said it a time or two, my last run as owner of Whiskey Hollow Distilleries through this still. Any of the runs from here on out will be helping somebody else get their dream. I appreciate all my customers that have sampled my whiskey, and to this day, I don't know of anybody that said it wasn't good whiskey. So you can't get a better compliment than that. So, and also to this day, I do not know of one single person that has had my bourbon that's come up to me and said they got a hangover when they went too far. I make deep cuts, I make sweet cuts. So the last thing I want is to have some heads left in my bourbon. So it's been a great run. I did check off my bucket list item, my main one, starting out a long, long time ago. I wished and hoped that I could make a world-class bourbon. And when you get compliments from the second largest distributor in the entire United States, from a senior vice president of that company that's been in the business for God knows how long, around 27 years, I believe, we've become very good business associates over the last few years. And I just recently, from an individual from a company that is very seriously thinking about purchasing Whiskey Hollow, that he said that vice president told him that I made the best bourbon in the United States. That's one hell of a compliment. Sort of chokes you up, you know, when this is your profession. And then when you get the retired national sales manager of Maker's Mark back in 2014 when he first sampled my stuff, and he says, Les, he says, this is the smoothest 110 proof ever put in my mouth. He said, you mastered it. That was the first time anybody called me a master. So, a lot of good things, a lot of good medals, gold medals over the years, double golds for my bourbons. Some of the, you know, winning in the 50 best bourbons in the United States, winning a gold medal there and winning best in class here and there. So I believe I can check off that, and I really truly appreciate all my customers. But I've got some moonshine jars to fill for my grandkids, and for me too, to sit back and look at, and also to sip along the way as time goes on. So you can stick around and watch me fill these, and I'm going to put my initials on top of the jars and call it a day. The boiler is shut off, so this is the last of Hart's cut. It will start tailing off in production. So I think I have enough heat in the boiler to fill these 12, and we'll call it good. Isn't that clear? Isn't that pretty? Ah! Little trick, anything above 150 proof, those bubbles better be gone in less than 2 seconds. 1001, yeah, it's above 170 proof. White Lightning, hair of the dog. Pappy's Corn Squeezins, 100% corn whiskey. I don't like 100% corn bourbon. Moonshine, yeah. Bourbon, no. Whoever's a successful bidder or buyer on this, they'll get that secret too. Bourbon is literally, to me, the hardest spirit in the world to make because it takes a life to master it. There is so many variables and nobody's willing to give up their secret, so you basically have to learn it on your own. Bourbon has to be at least 51% corn. What other grains are you going to put in it after that? For me, I'll tell you, a good chunk of it to do it naturally is I use a malted grain in one part of my recipe and another grain that makes it soft. I haven't done this very much, so I'm a little rusty. That one's a little low. That's better. We'll check the last jar to see what proof's in there so I know how to properly record it for TTB. And TABC, can't leave those guys out. They want their tax money too. This is less than 750 milliliters, but I'm going to call it 750 milliliters. So they're going to get a little extra tax money. Oh, that's clean. Bittersweet. But this is the last run. An old moonshiner named Popcorn Sutton. Really feel sorry for him. On his last run, it was on TV, on his last run, he was getting ready to get thrown in jail because he never did do what I did, and that was to take it legal. He decided to fight the law all the way to the end, which he did, and he got caught. And real famous moonshiner, made some good stuff, did it right, but he got caught. I never did get caught. And I learned when infrared hit in 1981, Moonshine in the Hills was done. At that point in time, I had a couple kids on the ground, and I said, nope, my wife isn't going to be sending me letters in Leavenworth. So I led a pretty well straight and good life after that. And the next still that I built was like it was for a master's thesis project up there in Missouri. And ever since then, that bucket list item stayed in my mind, and when Cook County went wet, things worked out, and I started it. And this lasts from 2013, when I filed and started working on my permit, 2014, getting the still built, all the way to now. I've had some unsavory characters in my life. I try to do good and try to do good for the community, but the lawyer that was that did the legal paperwork told me this individual was in the process of trying to do a hostile takeover. That was a very hard time in my life that I could see evil and why anybody would do that to somebody. We overcome that. The next challenge, that major challenge that hit, was COVID-19, and didn't know what I had. But after coughing up blood for a couple weeks, and then the news started reporting it, it was pretty evident that I got nailed by COVID-19. Little did I know, it sent a whole bunch of bad stuff through my veins, and several months ago, I had a physical and got a report that my kidneys pretty well gone. Doc said if I lose 5% more of them, I go on dialysis, and that's not good. And bad things can happen since then. So when there wasn't any investors, not paying attention here, not any investors to fill in the gaps that COVID cost our budget, we was pretty well investor based on building this thing. We was just about $300,000 from being able to open this business, and I had that done. Then COVID hit. They shut us down. The state shut us down. I'm not crying on my milk. I'm just saying this is what happens. You can't see everything that happens in business, and you're very lucky if it goes according to plan. For me, it didn't go according to plan. So when the state shut us down for a year and we lost $600,000 out of the budget, and we couldn't, since we wasn't open for business, not one penny of emergency money that they said was coming our way we qualified for, because we wasn't open to the public before COVID hit. Same way with the banks. Even though we had about several $1 million of free and clear assets, we couldn't borrow one penny from them because we wasn't open to the business. So it left investors. Last year and a half, tried to find an investor or two to fill in the gap so we could open to the public and crank this thing down the road. And I get that bad diagnosis, and the county decides to try to foreclose on us for the taxes we owed. They decided to charge us taxes during that full year that we was shut down in the neighborhood of around $65,000. So there's things that you couldn't see or couldn't do. but I am happy and tickled that I got to chase a dream and live long enough to fill the last jar of moonshine. Let's just see what kind of proof this is. Let me get this running back where it's supposed to go first. It's still running a little bit. You can hear my pump over there starting to gyrate. That tells me the steam is gone and we're at the end of our run. I'll go turn that off here in a little bit. But right now, let's see what my last jar is. Pretty good. $179.71 proof. No, it kicked up to 180. That is some good white lightning. Here's a shot to where I wanted to go, what I wanted to do. I didn't do what I wanted to do, is to get this thing open up, hear that mic key in, and the speaker says, "Welcome to Whiskey Hollow, enjoy the evening," to 1,000 people or so. Some of the dreams that you have just don't come true for whatever reason. But you take the blessings that you've got, and you've had. I've got a beautiful wife of 45 plus years. We've got 3 beautiful kids, all healthy, and blessing after blessing after blessing. It doesn't matter what, some dreams don't come true. It's what matters is the dreams that do come true and the blessed life that you have living here in the United States and able to pursue them. So there's a full shot of 180 proof. I used to be able to, and I still think I can. Should be the last shot out of the last run. I think I need to take it. And I bet you I can still talk after I do it. That is some good stuff. Smooth and sweet, great last run. I appreciate all my customers. I thank you. I'll run the numbers tomorrow and put it part of this video. See you on the backside. Oh, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm not a real big drinker, believe it or not. I may go through a bottle of my bourbon one time a year. High proof moonshine, I keep it on the shelf for truly medicinal purposes. Maybe I'll write a book on all that, the hot toddies and all that. I can cure a cold, sore throat, strep throat in about 30 minutes, but just get with me later if you want to find out more about that. But I don't even know where I was going. I'm just thinking about that moonshine and how good it is. So I just thank God, and I give all credit to God for the blessings that we've had and the run that I've made. And it is my true goal to help the next person that takes this, or the next company, to get it to where they want to go. I've been blessed to this point, and hopefully we can get this sold where all of our investors aren't going to lose any money. I have a potential of losing several $1 million. I believe the assets that I put into this thing and the cash equivalents it will exceed probably $7 million. If I can end up with $2 million in the bank, I call that a life well lived. And that will definitely get me to the grave, not being destitute. I don't care what I lost, it's what I gained when the story's done. So with that said, a Texas sunset, good friends, good whiskey, great memories. Thank you.